Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It looks like we have everything good to go here on our live stream. Thank you all for joining us. Those of you who are on my panel today, we're still waiting for Michelle, but I'm sure she'll be here in just a minute. We'll go ahead and get things kicked off. Those of you who are watching on LinkedIn, thank you so much joining us for Beyond the Affiliate Coupon Code, the future of deals and discounts. One thing I want to do real quick is drop into the comments. For those of you who have not seen our study, we're going to be talking a lot about this today. This was our big PMA industry study that we did. You may want to download that, just put in your email address and download it so that you have the full information that we're going to be talking about. Otherwise, when we're done, I am positive you're going to want it because we're going to talk about so many cool things that you're going to want to see all of them for yourself. So I'll kick things off with introductions. I am Tricia Meyer. I'm the Executive Director of the Performance Marketing Association. I've also been a publisher myself for over 20 years with a coupon and cashback site. So this particular council and the things they talk about are near and dear to my heart. While all of our panelists are introducing themselves, I would love for those of you who are watching on LinkedIn to introduce yourselves as well. That way we have a little bit of an idea what your connection to the topic is. So are you a retailer? Are you an agency who works with retailers? Are you a publisher yourself that does coupons, deals, anything like that? So just drop your introductions. And if you have questions as we go along, please feel free to drop those into the comments on LinkedIn as well. And then we'll either try to work them in throughout the flow of our conversation, or we will pick them up when we get to the end as time allows. So next up, let's just have the panelists jump in and introduce themselves. I'll start around the circle on mine with Brooke.
All right, Tricia, thanks so much for hosting, and congrats again on the study. That was momentous. My name is Brook Schaaf. I've been in affiliate marketing since the year 2000, had a very young Zappos.com, worked in-house, started an agency, and today I own and operate FMTC, which is a data layer that provides program, coupon, and product feed information to enterprise affiliates.
Terrific. And Dylan.
Awesome. Hello, my name is Dylan Bertalli. I'm the chair of the Coupon Deals Council. I'm also the founder of Earn and account manager at PartnerCentric. I'm incredibly excited to go over the questions on the agenda and also listen to the speakers that we have here. We have great people. So thank you, Tricia, for putting this together.
And a great shout out to the Coupon and Deal Council for making all of this happen. Joe.
Hey everybody, my name is Joe Coyle and I work at Slickdeals. I'm the director of sales partnerships and I look forward to participating in this panel. And thanks so much, Tricia, for putting it all together.
Thank you. And Michelle.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Kalinowski. I'm the senior director here at NYMO & Co. We're an agency, so I just focus on affiliate. Really excited. I think we have a lot of great topic items for today and a lot of great findings. So really excited to dig in with everybody and hopefully answer a lot of the questions you guys have towards the end too.
Thank you. So as I mentioned, the study that I put into the comments, this kind of what kicked off this entire discussion, that we do this industry study for US affiliate marketing every 3 years. And we saw a really big shift in ad spend on coupon sites this year. So we're going to talk about those numbers. When the report first came out, when we first saw the numbers, it was kind of, oh, wait, is this really happening? Coupons has been such a mainstay of affiliate marketing. Is it possible that this ad spend has shifted? Now, one caveat as you read the report is understanding we're not saying that there's less spend on coupon sites than there was 3 years ago. We're saying that the percentage relative to other publisher types has shifted. So as we're talking about all this, keep in mind that this is not about, coupon sites are not making any money anymore. This is just about the fact that we've seen shifts in ad spend to other types of publishers, which obviously then means coming away from the coupon sites. But at the same time, we were seeing some big changes in other areas that we're also going to talk about, some data in there about buy now, pay later, tech in general, card linked offers and things like that. So those are some of the numbers that we're going to be pulling from that study today. So the first thing we did when this report came out, after looking at the numbers and kind of saying, okay, does this even make sense? We started talking to people like the people who are on the panel today and saying, you work with these things all of the time. Do these numbers make sense? Are there reasons for this? And if so, let's get together once we release the study and start talking through all of these things. So we spent a couple of months as a Coupon and Deal Council talking through all of these areas, talking to some of the coupon publishers, deal publishers, the different agencies. So some of the things we're going to be talking about today are things that just came out of those general conversations, and some are some really specific things that everyone here has encountered. So let's just start at the most basic, Brooke. what are kind of the key shifts that we're seeing in the traditional coupon models?
Yeah, so I think you hit on one of the really big ones, right? The percentage that are categorized as coupons has decreased by the study, from got the number right here from 16 to 10%. That's fairly dramatic. Whereas cashback held steady with 35%. And then the buy now, pay later guys, which are under technology solutions, which would be my one quibble with the PMA's categorization, went up from 5 to 7%. And so I think in the big picture, affiliate marketing has always seen a lot of shifts, and we remain as a channel beloved by shoppers. Coupons remain beloved by shoppers, but we are beset by challenges. So foremost among those challenges, I would count user trust, largely because of the accuracy of the coupon content that is out there, or the lack of accuracy. We're seeing more slop and bad deals. The answer engines are a new distribution point, but they are often scraping the slop. And so users get easily frustrated. I was actually talking to somebody at CJU in Santa Barbara who was saying that his target is to try and hit 50% functionality with the coupon auto apply feature, which was kind of shocking to me because we have 100% when they go out of our system. We're a business provider of coupon feeds, if you're not familiar with FMTC. And so I would say kind of overall, it feels to me like we're in a sort of a shifting space, and that we might be at or even sort of approaching a nadir in terms of matching up the desire of the users to find these coupons and their ability to do so. And then there are some really powerful potential improvements on the horizon that will make for a smooth process between the buyer and the retailer.
Okay. Dylan, you have some things to add to that?
Yeah, Brook covered it very well, but I guess on a very micro level, from what I see from the accounts that I manage, like there's flat fee spend available for loyalty publishers and elevated CPA rates available for CLO publishers from what I'm seeing. And coupon is still on the default, which is one of the negative shifts that I've been seeing lately towards coupon, is that it's not being looked at as a channel that deserves as much priority, which is totally wrong. I mean, we've seen it for years provide very good data for the most part. And one positive shift that I've been seeing, which I think is interesting and worth mentioning, is that the loosening of TM Plus. Years ago, it was unjustifiable for the accounts I managed to get that approved. And this year, I mean, nearly across the board, we've gotten it approved for almost every account. So I'm wondering if on a macro level, if this is also being seen. But regardless, I think it's a great shift that I'm excited to see more data on.
Right. Anyone else? Any shifts in the coupon models in general? I think one of the things we kind of talked about as a council was the shift to loyalty from some of these coupon sites that used to be classified as coupon and are now classified as loyalty, in which we saw that the loyalty, the cashback, stay at 35%. So some of it is it's the same companies, and it's not a shift of revenue, but it's a change in what they might be doing, and it's a change in how they're classifying. So there might be a little bit of that in there as well.
Yeah, just jumping in there, Tricia, I think one of the biggest components we're seeing too is a lot of those coupon partners for many years were using the same model, and then they started switching things up, which is a good thing, right? Wanted to do something different, get different loyalty from different people shopping from them. So they've been changing the rates that you have to pay out. So then maybe they could do cash back, but now do you call them a cash back? Do you call them a coupon partner? And then you have ones that are helping push inventory now too. So now are they a deal site versus a traditional coupon? And then some are also dabbling into doing influencer things on their own pages that are social. So I think they're getting very creative. And the question is, okay, what do we even name it? Is it a coupon site or not? So I think that's also changing the shift of where the spend is coming from, because are they coupon? Are they deal? Are they loyalty? Are they something other at this point?
Yeah, and actually, a quick note to add to that, Tricia, is if you look at the survey, there's no browser extension category, because browser extension is a feature, right? Anybody could have a browser extension, and many do not use coupons. If you look at like a Dupe or Detecto or Locker, one of the other wish list companies, some of them avoid it because they don't want to get their commissions reduced, which seems a little bit silly to me. And similarly with the cashback aspect, to Michelle's point, I'm wondering if this is not actually moving toward being a feature that just becomes more and more widespread, because the commercial pressure to offer an added incentive only gets stronger with time, right?
right?
Yeah.
What about
I'm
card linked
thinking-
offers? Are you seeing any differences there? Like, are you seeing movement from any of your merchants that are trying to pick up card linked offers instead of traditional coupon sites?
You for FMTC?
Any of you? Yeah, any of you.
So for FMTC, we are looking into possibly integrating card linked offers, which we don't have. I was doing some investigation recently, actually at CJU, had some good conversations. Um, I think there has been a little bit of a shift there. Some of the old complaints about coupons and incrementality have resurged with card linked offers. And so I think the future there might be more highly targeted offers. But card linked offers do seem overall to be continuing to grow in popularity.
Yeah, we're seeing it for a lot of our brands. CLO has just been such a booming word over the past 2 years, I would say, because a lot of our brands are trying to get on there, trying to get new users. There's always going to be the issue of, am I getting new users versus repeat users? But I think a lot of them are getting better at targeting. They're being a little bit more flexible on what can be given out. So a lot of our brands are definitely jumping in on that. And a lot of the platforms that we work with, a lot have had case studies or their own results showing like this is one sector that's growing. So a lot of our brands too, when they see that, they want to make sure they're part of that. They're not going to be behind it. So they want to make sure they're trying to capitalize it and get ahead and be on as many of those sites as they can. So we have been seeing growth for it when it's done the right way, right? We don't want to be on there multiple times. We don't want to be overpaying it in capacity where we don't. And we want the right kind of shopper. We want to make sure it's quality, but we have seen it grow and a lot of demand for it as well.
Shameless plug if anybody wants to learn more about CLOs, that we do have a PMA webinar that we did earlier this year that you can find on our YouTube page. Lots of great information from Publisher Recruitment Council on that. Joe, I think you had something else before we started talking CLOs you were going to jump in with.
Yeah, I was going to say two things. One, back to the point about categorization. A lot of the ways that coupons are powered now are through technology platforms and almost networks like Atolls or Dear Francis as well. And I wonder how they were categorized or how they see themselves and the networks see themselves as they become major players. And then with card linked offers, those are very interesting as well. You have the opening for traditional advertisers that are operating in the affiliate space, but what it also opens up a lot for brands like Slickdeals are things like restaurants, so quick serve restaurants and things where it's hard to buy, Chipotle or Panda Express or something online. But if you can do that, that's another way that it incentivizes us to promote them. And then I don't know if anybody saw at CJU, which was mentioned earlier, CJ was promoting a new type of link, which was actually QR code based, and you could save it into your phone's wallet, so your iPhone or your Android wallet, and then scan that QR code in the store. So not necessarily tied directly to a credit card, but still allowing you to sort of shop in the store and get commission back to the publisher.
Interesting. Nikki Wilson just made a good comment about from her conversations, they're looking for big brands for those CLOs, leaving behind some of the more niche that don't have as much in spend a month. So that is kind of more of an opportunity still for the coupon sites, knowing that not every brand is looking to work with card linked offers. So that's good. So we talked about kind of the coupon site publisher side of it. What types of consumer behavior shifts are we seeing in the space that might be fueling some of this as well? Want to take that one, Michelle?
Yeah, I could jump into that. I think what we're seeing is a bit of a shift where a lot of consumers and shoppers are not being as loyal to their favorite coupon sites or loyalty sites like they used to. We're seeing a big decrease in that, right? They're not going to be specific to that. They're shopping around. They're looking at many different sites. They don't assume that they're getting the best deal where they're at. So we are seeing consumers just shifting that and going through a lot of different journey points to get to that really good deal. And the other piece we are seeing is a lot of them are just overall looking for a better deal, anywhere that they can save. So I think that's gonna be a huge piece that we're gonna continue seeing going in. But the other piece is a lot of frustration with multiple code attempts, right? Are the codes working? Is there generated codes being added that are no longer valid? So we're seeing a lot of consumers too, as they're looking for those codes and they're shifting how they're looking for things. Is it actually properly being put in space the right way? Another huge piece too is preference to finding codes in social media and word of mouth, right? So we are seeing consumers are using that. They're also using AI tools now more so that maybe we'll go into a little bit later on today, but the consumer is changing with how they look for things. They're just not going to their typical one site and they're done. They're knowing that they have a variety of options now at this point, and they're being targeted different ways too by brands.
Anything else anyone is seeing from the consumer side? I think we probably all use them. So seeing this shift, kind of going along with that, Michelle, so are you noticing a decrease in performance then from the coupon partners because of this?
We are, because, depending on who's getting the attribution as well when it comes into it. So, I mean, if we're doing anything on a social perspective, our influencers definitely want to have their own codes generated that can have click list tracking, right? Also making sure a code might leak onto a coupon site. That's not the code that was given to them. So we are seeing some issues there as people are hopping around. The codes are being put in different places that really weren't met to them. So we are definitely seeing a big shift to that with who's getting paid out, is coupon getting the actual credit. So a lot of different shifts on our side of what the metrics look like compared to where they were last year.
Dylan, do you have anything on that you'd like to throw in?
Yeah, definitely. I checked the data yesterday to see if this was relevant in my portfolio as well. And one interesting takeaway is that it's likely new competition with CLO, which has been incredible to see. We onboarded them for pretty much every account where coupons were available. We also added CLO. And yeah, CLO is just outpacing them in revenue, and it's growing rapidly as we continue to onboard different CLO brands. Different CLO brands have different banks. And yeah, it's just a few factors from the convenience at checkout. I think it's just something that is just totally unmatched with CLO. And then also better discount rates. And again, this is on a super micro level, but for the accounts that I manage, we have authority to give higher CPA rates than the coupon codes that we give to end users. Super micro, I doubt that's across the board for everybody. But yeah, I think this in combination with flat fee budgets for coupon publishers getting cut are perhaps the most relevant behind the decrease in performance. But again, it's not a decrease in performance overall for coupon as a category. It's just for that little subsector, and it's just being spread around different categories, I guess.
And those of you, it looks like we have a lot of agencies that are attending here today. Feel free to drop in as well as I'm asking some of these questions, if there are things that you're seeing in particular that you'd like to share. So are you seeing a decrease kind of across the board? All of you who are managing a lot of programs, are you seeing a decrease in the performance from the coupon partners that you generally have had good performance from in the past? I think one of you had brought up trademark a little bit before about differences in trademark as well. Anybody want to elaborate on that, kind of that competition in that space?
Yeah, that was me. We just try to experiment as much as we can for each of the accounts and whatever stakes we usually go with. And yeah, TM Plus was just a sector that previously was untouched. I got denials across the board before a few years ago when we tried. And now that coupons were kind of on the decline, we tried to test out TM Plus. We ended up getting approvals across the board for it. And yeah, it's just been very interesting because it's taking away, it's just adding a totally new model into it. It's like with SCM, we saw great success with that. So that is what stemmed from it. And that's recovered coupon a bit just because there's active spend and account management towards it. It's not just a set it and forget it like the other programs, which personally I think is the biggest difference.
Anything else on that topic? So, Dylan, you have done a lot for the PMA and the Coupons Deals Council in particular on attribution. Couple of white papers I think that we have out there. Let's talk a little bit about what adjustments are being made to attribution models in light of all of this.
Yeah, not a ton of changes I feel are actively being made. Moving off of pure last click attribution has been something that's been a very relevant conversation with everybody, mostly due to the newfound accessibility within the networks, which I feel like it always fell onto the networks. If you didn't make it easy for account managers to adjust the models, they wouldn't. And the industry study, I saw that there was a note that said that they're maybe losing out on advertisers that are moving away from last click attribution, and publishers were expressing frustration, which makes total sense. However, again, personally, I feel like it's more so explained that CLOs are taking the volume and the market share away from the traditional last click attribution publishers who would be complaining about the lower volume. They're seeing around 6% decline in coupons, and CLO is seeing around a 5% upside. So it's almost a direct competitor taking away almost an equal market share. And I think the Google updates and AI and just customer behavior and how they're discovering coupons could also make up for that. But I feel like it's perhaps a little bit too early since most of the attribution models are new. And the recent networks that started making the changes started in 2024 and 2025. And I still feel like last click is the vast majority. And things are nearly the same as far as the accounts that I manage. We haven't changed to preferred publisher for any of them yet, or just any of the other ones that we wrote about, linear, time decay. These just aren't things that we're seeing on our end. It's still, for the most part, last click. So I feel like that's more so affecting everything, and the competition ramping up affecting it more so than people are moving away from the traditional attribution models.
Good question that just came in about the Trademark Plus. So when you're working with Trademark Plus, are the links going directly to the brand site, or are these going to the coupon site first to link through to the affiliate links to the brand, or is there a mix of these? In particular, those of you who are managing programs, what are you seeing with these?
Yeah, personally, what we're seeing is it's going directly to the coupon site pretty much every time. It's rarely going directly to the site. I feel like that's an overstep in trademark almost. And the brands still want their stability when they click on their site to then go there, usually.
Good question.
Hey, Tricia.
Yeah.
Before you move on from this topic, I think one thing that might be worth noting is, well, a couple things. One, last click's very much maligned, but very hard to get away from. And you can't forget that in the other channels, the walled gardens and open web programmatic, they also use last click. Plus, they take credit for view throughs and et cetera, et cetera. Um, so in the affiliate space, one thing that I think might be a growing trend to be aware of is if the influencers feel like they're going to lose out to the top of the funnel guys feel like they're going to lose out to the bottom of the funnel guys, it makes that pretty easy sell-in from like an influencer network, especially if it has its own tracking to that sort of like influencer pool. And so what I've been anticipating is kind of an increase in more merchant programs saying, hey, listen, you guys are on two separate tracks. If you overlap, which they don't most of the time, you've seen the stats, right? It's like less sub 5% overlap according to the networks. But if you do, like you can never lose out. I think that would be a big kind of like moral booster if a merchant offered that in their program.
Agreed. Anything else on attribution? I know we could have an entire hour just talking about attribution, especially these days. Don't know if we'll get to it later, but about the Cap 1 settlement last week and how that kind of plays into this as well. So let's talk about the other big topic that, of course, you can't get through in a half an hour of talking to anyone without talking about, and that's AI. So we kind of touched on it just a bit earlier. Michelle said, we'll get to this and kind of elaborate on it because it is a big topic unto itself. How is AI specifically impacting coupon and deal discovery for users? So are there benefits? Are there risks to the merchants who are relying on these technologies? Do you want to just kick it off, Michelle, since you brought it up?
It's been a fun time, I'd say, with the AI. I think there is always something new coming out, and it's keeping everybody on their toes, good and bad. I think also Brooke talked a little bit about it a little bit earlier, is the accuracy that's out there. We're finding faster ways to find codes and deals out there, which is exciting, especially as someone who loves a good deal myself and looking for codes. But are we always finding the most accurate codes out there? You have ChatGPT, you could put any prompt in there right now and find a discount. You have Google, which has like the AI overviews now. So you have other coupon deal sites popping up. People don't even have to manually go and search for these codes. They don't even have to go to the coupon sites anymore to find those codes. They're able to just put in a prompt, depending on what tool they're using. You have AI code hunter sites now that are out there. So there's a lot of opportunity for people. So one, the accuracy, the manual searches, we're seeing a lot of shifts in that area. And also people knowing the terms and conditions of a sale going on, looking at other kind of offers, kind of products, they might not be seeing that now. So that's one piece. Another thing too is with AI kind of changing things, and something good for brands to be thinking about is a lot of brands might mimic the same offer from last year, the release dates, and really needing to throw a curveball in there now, because a lot of those AI tools, there's others out there that can utilize to identify historical patterns, so people can know, when should I buy an X item, and Do I think it'll be discounted at 50% or 20%? So people are looking at those kind of things, and also like price matching opportunities. A lot of brands, if you offer that or don't offer it, that might be something that's coming into play because people are putting all that into like the tools that they're using. And then what we're seeing too is it's causing a lot of partners to lose credit because, you know, you might have a code that's being used somewhere else, but people aren't actually clicking on the links if you're not using clickless tracking. So there's been a lot of different impacts just there, but there's a lot of benefits too, right? Like we're going to see a lot more personalized offers that are out there that can target people outside of their traditional demographics, right? So it might be able to tell where people are shopping, what's more relevant. So definitely getting more of that to get people to actually make the purchase. Real-time options, right? There might be tools out there now that are highlighting if the inventory levels are changing, if demand fluctuates. I think we see that a lot with ticket or booking. You know, if someone's buying concert tickets, I know people might be out there using dynamic pricing and real-time adjustments. It could be good or bad depending if you're on the brand or shopper side. Behavioral triggers, I think we're seeing a lot with AI too, just kind of rolling those pieces out. Fraud and detection. So a lot of good things that brands can lean into. A lot of publishers are coming out with things that are going to be fantastic. But then again, accuracy. Are people actually landing on the sites? Are they actually clicking on the affiliate links at this point? So really thinking about having codes, and are they clickless codes where the platform's tracking it? Auditing your partners. Are they actually running the right offers? So a lot of different dynamics, good and bad, I think, with AI, and we're only scratching the surface with it. But the biggest thing on my side, I think, is just going to be things are moving really quickly, and is it accurate? But on the brand side, there's just a lot of ways to capitalize on all different shoppers now.
Yeah. There's speaking of the lawsuit for extensions and things, there's also the recent lawsuit. Penske Media was suing Google for their AI summaries, and they said it was a double-digit hit to the
Yep.
affiliate revenue that they had been seeing, because exactly like Michelle said, people were no longer going to their content sites and actually clicking through their affiliate links. They were just taking the codes and things that were being featured in those summaries and then transacting, cutting out the publisher from the equation.
Absolutely. And we just had a good question come in that kind of ties into the last question, a little bit into this question as well, particularly for Michelle and Dylan, but anybody can chime in. Do you think that shifting to single-use coupon codes could help improve attribution accuracy and reduce code abuse? Single-use codes.
I have always been a big encourager of it. The only thing is I think a lot of brands don't always have the capability of doing it. There are definitely tools out there where you could use the single use codes. I also like an embedded link. So this way the code is protected. But again, not everyone's able to do that or have the bandwidth, right, to be setting those kind of things up. But I definitely see a lot of encouragement and good reasons to use it. So for me, I've seen success when it is done the right way. Newsletters are probably an easy way to do that, but again, not everyone's going to have that capability of doing it.
Yeah, and Michelle, you hit it on the head that not everybody has the capability of doing it. When I was on the publisher side, what I saw was that custom coupon codes, like directly for the brand, work best. So I try to do that as much as possible when the program grants it, which usually is pretty often, but we definitely have seen where it's not available, and that's definitely a lot harder. But usually that is best practice from what we see.
Yeah, not just the brand as well. It's difficult for publishers too to display it, right? And you're talking about sort of the blending of coupon and loyalty. I'd say a loyalty site might actually be able to pull that off because everybody's logging in, right, to get their cash back, so you can display a unique code to all of them. But a coupon site, very few people, I would imagine, are actually have a login to that platform. So how you display it and track it, email certainly one way to do it, but there are other ways to do it too. That sometimes we run codes that have a cap on the advertiser side, which is another way to control it. So after a certain number of redemptions, which the advertiser can more easily control, or a monetary threshold, once X number has been redeemed, then the code expires as well.
So in terms of like as you were kind of mentioning, Dylan, the kind of vanity codes for the publishers that track to that publisher, does AI then complicate that even more? Because if the AI is then picking up those codes and somebody says, what's a deal for this site? And now that vanity code pops up and that publisher is getting all the credits for it, but it's just because the AI scraped it?
Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned that. I just had a call with one of the accounts yesterday who went through one of the larger coupon sites and noted exactly that the Vendy code was showing up a few times. I think Impact does a really good job in making it so it's one-to-one for the brand. So attribution only goes to that brand if it does get used. But that definitely doesn't prevent it from being scraped for the most part if it does show up publicly for brands. So kind of the solution that we had was just going directly to the publisher and requesting that they get taken down. And then also giving them a Vandy code because just coincidentally they didn't have a Vandy code. So that was kind of like the way that we were going to approach it. So to be determined if it works, but that's kind of how we're going to go about it for now.
In some ways, that's almost the new SEO, though, isn't it too? Because previously you wanted to rank high on Google and have somebody come to your site and find that code. Now it's almost like you want to tailor your site to be scraped by these AI platforms and get featured in
And
that
hope that they
Google
pick it up.
summary. And if your vanity code is there and it ties back to that publisher, even though it's displaying on Google, I mean, it's still getting it broadcast out to the consumer. And the brand that was able to work it into AI might rightfully need to be credited for that.
Mhm. All right, so we have some good comments coming out here. Particularly Mike also kind of weighing in on single use codes, saying that he's found them to be very helpful, but also that the branded codes that they get leaked and then all of a sudden you have the wrong people being rewarded for them. So still an issue that we will have to figure out on this end. Let's shift gears a little bit because we have Joe here and we lump them together so much. We lump them together in the PMA, the Coupon and Deal Council. We lump them together in our data when we talk about coupons and deals. Let's talk about them a little bit separately right now because there are so many differences. And I think we did an entire webinar just on the differences from this council at one point last year. So how Joe, how is the deal space changing relative to the changes in the coupon space? Are you seeing the same things, different things?
Yeah. So, to sort of summarize that other webinar that we had, there is a distinction between coupon and deal platforms, right? They're both very valuable. Coupons, I would say traditionally, you're going to find that at the end of the transaction experience, right? You've already sort of decided what you might buy, and that coupon can certainly help push you over the edge when you see that you can get free shipping or 10% off or whatever it might be. But a deal site is more window shopping, right? Where you're scrolling through and you're seeing these products that maybe you didn't even know that you wanted, but it's at such a great price. You're going to start that transaction process there. I think the big thing that we have seen having had operated both sides of that is the changes recently with Google search, right? And so on the coupon side, you have to negotiate trademark plus rights. You have to think about how your website's going to be optimized. There's a number of competitors out there that are all vying for an incredibly limited number of spaces to actually generate traffic. On the deal side, though, that's really about building your own brand as a publisher and getting people to come directly to your site. And so something like Slickdeals, 90% of our traffic is direct. So those changes with the Google algorithms and things and ways that they're placing publisher sites, we are not as impacted there. However, our coupon portion is certainly impacted as those rankings constantly change.
Thanks. Any of the rest of you who work with the coupon and deal sites see any differences or the way that you work with them in particular, any differences?
And I guess I'd add too, if
Okay.
we go back to circling back a little bit to AI, because everybody wants to talk about AI all the time. With coupons, those codes might last a little bit longer. So if those get picked up in those summaries, then there's a chance that they'll still be valid. But I don't think the AI summaries are at this point immediate. And what we see with deals, they're only going to last on average, it could be anything, but on average, what we see is 72 hours. And so it really depends if AI is able to scrape that quickly and find that deal for you. Otherwise, they might be using old data. So you're going to see people coming to these deal platforms to really find what's available right now. And they have to jump on that because the deal's going to end.
Mhm. Good point.
Or they stop using coupon and deal sites.
No. Oh, yeah, obviously. I think that's the concern for all of us that are publishers in terms of AI. Do they need to come to any of our sites at all, or can they just ask the question, where do I get this pair of shoes at the best price? How do I, what's the best deal today on this particular item or something like that? So, but I think one of the things that Joe said that was really important is that loyalty as a publisher, that it's not just people are stumbling upon your site as a publisher because you have some good deals or they're looking for something else, but they're used to going to you consistently because they know the deals that you have and they want them. So for us on the publisher side, very worried about all these different things that we're seeing. That loyalty to your brand is kind of the key and the best thing, as as the PMA, when they say, what can I do as the publisher? And what we're saying right now is build your brand so that they follow your socials, so that they come to your site regularly, so that they read your newsletters. Build your brand in the hopes that they will continue coming to you. So so we touched on it earlier, but let's go back to card linked offers, buy now, pay later. What role do we think they're going to have in this entire kind of ecosystem over the next few years, based on what you've seen and what you think is coming? I'm going to tackle that, Dylan. I see you came off mute, so you must have a good answer.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm very bullish on both products. I saw a study by JD Power, who wrote the US Buy Now Pay Later Satisfaction Study in February. And they claim that 42% of Gen Z have used Buy Now Pay Later in 2024. And, I'm sure we all saw the headlines of, DoorDash orders being financed by Buy Now Pay Later, groceries being financed. 60% of Coachella tickets this year were financed by Buy Now Pay Later. And it's becoming common practice, almost a scary common practice by my generation, I think. And I really do think that's here to stay, though, regardless of what we all think of it and the, financial impact on it. But the fact that Affirm is a $30 billion public company, Klarna, who IPO'd 2 weeks ago, is a $16 billion company in the space, it's only going to make it more relevant as years go on. And there's plenty more. PayPal, Square, they also have many different brands under the kind of category of buy now, pay later, which are on the rise, Zip as well. Is it a good financial move to be treating microloans as a dealer coupon mechanism? Definitely not. But it does serve a legitimate purpose within the affiliate ecosystem. So I think it will grow. And then just as for CLO, I'm a big advocate for CLO just because it's in all of my programs and I see the work that it does and the volume that it brings. And it's just emerging as the easiest way for consumers to save. It's saving without thinking about it for the majority of time for them. Or having to click on any direct links, just because the way that it's tracked is with BIN numbers, the bank identification numbers. The route that I see for it to actually grow to as large as it probably should be would be the integration into the affiliate networks itself. Right now, if anybody works with any CLO brands, they know that for the most part, it only flows through billing within the affiliate network. So you can pay the monthly bill at the end of the month. But all of the reporting KPIs are totally separate just due to a cookie not being attached to tracking. So in the future, whoever gets this correct first, where it flows into the affiliate networks, which again is probably on the affiliate networks, I feel like once that's set up, a lot of major strides are going to be added to the vertical. And I know when we had early conversations with onboarding for a lot of brands, that was the singular reason why we couldn't onboard, is because it doesn't flow through a network. So I feel like once they get that right, it should be a huge player in the next few years, much higher than 5%, I'm wondering, but I guess time will tell.
Just to jump on to what Dylan was mentioning, I think with like the buy now, pay now later, and then also like the CLO, we're seeing a shift on our side, at least with brands, for like the high ticket item pieces. You're not always going to be in the mass media, the influencer pieces. You might not have the budget for it. But also when you're looking at coupon deal or these new partnerships, it's really looking at how can we have the right kind of shopper? And these are shoppers who are willing to buy that high ticket item. They're not going to be doing returns. A lot of our brands mention like coupon deal sites, they might get a lot of returns and they lose the money off of that, right? But if they have people that have high intent, they're keeping the product. We're seeing success when it comes to like the CLOs and the buy now, pay now laters. So I do think that kind of has shifted with the kind of brands that we're able to work with that. And I see a lot of growth for that because they get excited too, because they're getting a higher AOV in that return piece. So definitely something on our side that I think a lot of those bigger brands with a high ticket value can test out and do more of that maybe they weren't able to do a couple of years ago, and have a new audience that they're able to touch into without the worrisome of returns, any possibility of fraud, a code leaking, things like that.
So now for something completely different, let's talk about marketplace networks, which is something that we're seeing them on the rise, even just within the PMA. We've got Levanta and Archer and Wayward, a number of them. We have the Amazon Creator Connection. How is the rise in these marketplaces? How is that impacting brand and product promotions as well?
Yeah, I really like the point that Brook made earlier with influencer networks and sort of running parallel to some of the major affiliate networks where you could almost get credit, through this other network. And I think that's what we're sort of seeing with the marketplace networks as well. So certainly ones that have popped up around Amazon or have been very prevalent, but now you're starting to see them, on TikTok shops, at Best Buy. Some of the ones that were working with Amazon, when Amazon changed their terms to sort of prioritize the Creator Connections program, they're now launching with Walmart. And so you see all these different types of third parties that, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, possibly would have been running their own websites, have now decided that's not really sustainable. And so they're selling through these larger platforms. And that's a very competitive place. So to get prioritized, they're offering these supplemental commissions on top of what you can make through the major affiliate networks. And for our site that's product focused, I think for deal sites in general, that's something that's very accessible. So when we see these deals, we can now go through some of the lists that those marketplace networks are able to provide to us and say, okay, this is actually a deal, and we can give it a little bit of a boost here because we're not just getting paid by Impact CJ Rakuten, we're also going to be paid by this additional network for promoting this specific third party that is partnered with them. And then again, going back to CJU, that was just a couple of weeks ago, you see some of the major networks now taking action too, creating new tabs and updates to their APIs that show, not only this focus on brands, the way that's traditionally been, right? We partner with Nike, Macy's, Dell, or whatever it might be, and then we look through their products after the fact. Now it's going to be more product focused, where there'll be a tab and you can see the different products, what's trending, how much is the commission for each individual product, and then promoting it based on the actual product rather than the brand.
Any of the rest of you doing anything with these marketplaces yet?
Yeah, we've tested a lot of them out. Levanta, we've tested out a lot with the TikTok shops, things like that. And I think it's been really great because when we compare it to what we do in a traditional affiliate model, the audiences are always so different. Different products are pushing and selling depending on the shipping might be different on one of those marketplaces versus elsewhere. And also the demographic, to be honest, it's like we're talking about coupon deal sites and a lot of people having their loyalty. Some people have a different preference to a marketplace that they're on. So we definitely try to make sure we're on as many as we can, as long as the brand can get on there, they have the bandwidth to do it. And it really goes into like the product feed, what products we have. Is there a different selling point on each of those marketplaces than what might be on direct or through the affiliate? But we've seen a lot of success with it. I think Amazon's been such a huge piece because some people don't even know that they're looking at other people's reviews or their commentary, and they just think they're on Amazon and they're actually being upsold on these pieces. So what people might want to be avoiding ads and they feel like it's more organic and someone's still getting sponsored and paid for it, it's great, right? So for us on a brand, I think it's really good just to be testing everything if you have that capability, because some things might take some time to ramp up, but other things hit pretty quickly. So you don't want to miss out on that because maybe you're worried or scared, but it's definitely reaching out to those marketplaces, seeing how you could get on there, do a trial. But at the end of the day, I think it's great for brands in general, but it's just something to keep in mind because it is shifting what you might be doing traditionally.
And there's just so much out there with those marketplaces, right? Where do you even begin? So in that way, some of these deal sites almost become a search engine in themselves, right? We're finding products that we know would resonate with our audience that are actually at a compelling price, and then we give attention to those, which really helps consumers rather than having to shift through this endless, which discount vacuum cleaner or mattress or whatever it is they're actually going to buy. Now we can sort of help point them in the right direction.
Yeah, people are doing so much research now, and it's not your traditional Google's, Yahoo, Bing that you saw over the years, right? So I think that's going to be the thing too, is like, where is everyone searching? Where are they getting their information? Where are they getting their reviews? And making sure you're shifting towards that area to, at least for your category and what's trending. It's a really good point, Joe, on the things that you were saying. So I think it's become such a big shift that I think we have to incorporate into our strategy that we're doing, especially going into Q4.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Joe, about the search engines in their own right. If you look at Amazon, where most people start their searches, Amazon kind of like pushes you to buy what Amazon wants you to buy pretty effectively. Google, not so great these days, and it's kind of one size fits all. Affiliates have this very special opportunity, and I mean, not opportunity, they're already doing it, but like, to be very agile, to speak to a certain market segment and really give them what they want and to help narrow down those processes. I feel like I feel like the market has sort of almost the user stats have yet to kind of catch up to that because the experience can be so much better through an affiliate that's really tailored to your needs than through a Google or an Amazon.
So I've heard a couple of things mentioned that I'm just going to kind of lump this like all together here. So Brooke was not happy with the way that we had classified in the study the buy now, pay laters. And I think Joe's not happy that coupons are classified with deal sites. And we have a lot of things that are like messy. It's just the way we do them, and it's not maybe the way we should. So let's talk about that. Like, what do we need to do? We lumped all this into one webinar and we talked about CLOs and buy now, pay later and coupons and deals and influencers. Like, what do we need to do? How do we need to do a better job in this industry of classifying these in terms of at the network level, data collection for future PMA surveys, like across the board? What do we need to be doing in terms of classifying all of this stuff to actually make it useful?
I think at the network level, one thing that seems to be coming out, going back to it, I think for the third time here, is AI, right? And so they're doing these AI recommendations for partnerships. And rather than just clicking through a category filter and checking the little button for coupon and deal and scrolling through, there's going to be a little bit more intelligence behind, hey, this is the type of publisher that maybe you should consider advertiser, or maybe vice versa for publishers, here's advertisers. And I think that will open up a space where it can actually say, this is why you should work with this publisher. This is what they do. So in that way, we're going to move a little bit away from categories, and it'll still be used for reporting and things. But as far as publisher discovery, hopefully that'll help and provide more space to give some nuances to the distinction between this publisher from that publisher.
Brooke, what would you like to see?
We need a better classification system that is basically attribute driven. The problem is people need a category in mind, right? Like you got to have like an association, and then that's very readily confounded, not just by everything that we've talked about, but because some affiliates like actively avoid a proper categorization. Like you're talking to somebody, and you say, "Oh, your site's very confusing me. Oh, you're a sub-affiliate network," which is exactly what they are. But they're like, "Oh no, we're not a sub-affiliate network. We're this other term that we just invented, and you can't tell when you go to our website because it's just a bunch of pictures of shopping graphs." So I think that is a real disservice because you want to sit down, have the conversation. There's a lot of education that has to go into it, and say, "Hey, is there an opportunity for us to do business together?" And if not, that's okay. There's another market to find. So I think what we should try and do is like draw everything out in terms of attributes and then figure out the trust component, which is also a real challenge, and then rely on the tracking platform to award the commissions in the way that you see fit, as opposed to making these what are often very ham-handed allotments based on the category that you perceive that they have, right? So you say, I don't like the SEO pattern of coupon sites, understandable. But what's a coupon site? If Marie Claire has a curated coupon page, is that a coupon site? Now, if they have a bunch of those curated pages and all of a sudden it's effectively like a mini shopping portal, is that a coupon site? It doesn't really matter in one sense. If you have a certain attribution methodology that, in fairness, you explain to your affiliate partners so they know what they're getting into, and then everybody can make a good business decision. So a higher level of granularity, I think, would be very helpful. And then you could build a data layer on top of that that would allow for you to create your own categories for your internal purposes. and for you to search and filter along that. You know, to Joe's point, I think the AI could be helpful. Feels like it usually is a little bit overhyped based on the stuff I've generally seen with it. But if that's the sort of the shortcut that we need, that could be a great contribution. But it still is going to depend on structured data.
Yeah, and something you kind of mentioned about, a subnetwork that says there's something different, reclassifies. Nikki, the chair of our publisher equipment council, just weighed in with something interesting in our comments, and that is the removal of publishers being able to classify themselves, as they're seeing a lot of misclassification. And she put that very nicely. She didn't say fraudulent classification or intentionally misleading. She said misclassification. So it could be that they really don't know what they are. Or it could be that they are just trying to get into programs that they shouldn't be getting themselves into or shouldn't be getting those rates. So kind of what Brooke said in terms of if it comes down to the attribution, then it's more about that than the classification itself. So it doesn't matter what you try to classify yourself, it's still coming down to the attribution in the end. Other thoughts on what we need to be doing, in better kind of as an industry to reclassify some of these things, or great ideas that you have that maybe we could try?
It comes down to the data that was mentioned too, because even some of the publishers, like their data that they don't share, like how much of a sale comes from a toolbar that they have versus on site, or their blog, like, are you 30% blog? Is that where the sales are coming from? Can I say that? Can I say that you're 30% content and everything else is deal? Like, is there a way to go into those metrics? I don't think we'll ever get those kind of answers, but it does show into that data of like what the brand is seeing from their publishers. That publisher, like, where's that traffic coming from? Where's it converting? So we could share that with the network, and the network can say, this is what I define you as. Because you could go in the network, see what the network defines it. You could also see what the publisher defined themselves as. Sometimes those don't match, right? And then as an agency with us working with brands, we might define it something completely different, because I might have a coupon site that can also do cashback. But if I'm not using you as cashback, you're going to be defined as a coupon partner, right? Even skim links, throwing them out there, like you can sometimes on certain platforms use them on a coupon section and just content. So now where are they getting bucket at in there? Because a lot of people traditionally use them
Right.
as a content, but it'd be interesting to see how they classify themselves and also how they're getting classified in a lot of the reporting. So I think it's very messy, and it really, data is going to be where we have to, unless we have one universal checklist of here's all you could be defined at and that's it. And there's always going to be something new popping up. Like Brooke mentioned, sub-affiliates coming up with another name that we've never heard of, defining themselves. It's like, okay, there's another one to put in the other bucket.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because for me, that was kind of one of the biggest things that came out of our industry survey that I think we have to try to figure out for next time. And that's how to deal with the subnetworks, because some of those subnetworks are basically, they're feeding coupon sites, or they're feeding influencers and creators. Like, they're feeding different things, but we're breaking them out in our survey as a publisher type, and the bucket's getting bigger and bigger. And so it doesn't really help us to just have a bigger bucket that's called subnetworks and have it getting bigger and bigger. We need to know among those subnetworks, we kind of need to know what other categories those should be going into to really have good data. So that for me is something that over this next 2 years, as we work on the next big industry study and figure out how to make it better, for me, trying to figure out some way to either have subnetworks self-report the way that we had the publishers self-report, to give us some ideas where to apportion that spend into the different buckets. Something like that is going to have to happen, because that subnetwork bucket just keeps getting bigger, and it's really not useful to us to just know that that's where the money is going. So we had some good questions come in from the council that I want to throw a couple up if we have time. Maybe just one real quick. How has the rise of social media and influencer marketing changed how consumers discover and trust coupon codes?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump on that one, since I was touching base on that one a little bit earlier on the consumer behavior. I think it's done two different things. One, it's helped make a lot of offers become more viral really quickly, right? The accuracy and trust of the codes, though, sometimes is not there. People can easily go to Linktree and they're seeing the same discount that might be universal that everyone's getting, and it's just on there. So I think people are still searching, looking for a discount. If that influencer has a strong following where they talk about like the best deals that can be found, I think a lot of their followers can trust that, and you'll see a lot of conversions coming in. But if it's just a typical influencer that's doing sponsored, I think people are seeing through that, but it is making things go viral. deals being seen, whether it's in a Reels, stories being promoted, getting a lot of different eyeballs on it. So I think we're seeing a lot of click traffic coming from it, but I think we're still seeing people searching, again, like we talked about the consumer behavior of people just trying to go everywhere looking for a deal. So they don't have complete loyalty to that one person that they found it from. They're going to keep looking to make sure they had it, but it's going to start the conversation of this brand has a sale. This is a deal going on right now.
Correct. All right, so I have one last final question to throw out to all of you. Give me your best one thing answer, and that is, what is the one thing that the e-commerce industry needs to do right now to ensure that coupon codes remain a healthy, valuable part of the marketing ecosystem? So even beyond affiliate marketing, for all the entire like e-commerce, so we're talking the AI overviews, the affiliate part, like everything. What's the one thing that we all kind of as a group need to do to ensure the health of coupon codes within our industry? Anybody have a good answer? You're saving the entire industry here, so make it good. Dylan, you went off.
Sure. Improving customer trust. I feel like that's the simplest thing that you could do from, I guess, an account manager perspective. Like just ensuring that every coupon that you see, because it's very easy. You type in the brand and then coupons and whatever's indexed on Google, you could go from there or referring URLs. And just ensuring that they're all legitimate coupons. I feel like that drove me personally away from some coupon sites in the past, seeing that some coupons that I would get from there and actually applying them and putting in that work and seeing that it wasn't a legitimate coupon. I mean, that shunned me a little bit from those sites. So I feel like it's almost on the account managers as well, whoever's managing the brand's coupons, to ensure that they're all trustworthy, which I think would make the ecosystem a lot healthier personally.
I was going to say,
You go.
Oh, go ahead, Jen.
I was going to say pretty much the same thing. One thing though that I've seen on some retailer sites or so I thought was interesting is if the coupon code doesn't work, then the brand pops up and says, "Hey, that one didn't work, but here's something else, we could offer for you." So it still makes you're not totally dejected by, "Oh, this code didn't work." You still have something to help incentivize that purchase a little bit. So implementing, just agreed with Dylan, some way of making sure that these codes work, or that there's some process to make the user feel like they actually found something.
Yeah, so I was going to jump on there, Joe, was the user experience of like, are you actually giving an offer? Is it something new that people are going to keep wanting to come back for? So it's worth their time of investing to find out, is there a deal going on? Is it worth me checking the site to get excited over maybe a pair of shoes or boots? And then I find out there's all these exclusions and I got nowhere and I could have just went to a loyalty site, right? So I think when it comes to that coupon space, like, are you doing flash deals? Is this something that known and it works? So having that user experience where the code works, it's something that's going to be a product that they really want, and you're not doing it all the time. It's not easily found, but something that people are finding value. So when they see it, they're going to use it. They're going to obviously move forward with the sale.
Brooke, obviously you believe in clean data, good codes, good feeds, all that kind of stuff.
If anybody needs some valid coupon data, I know somebody. So I think Dylan hit the nail on the head with trust, and the trust is on the consumer side and it's on the merchant side. And further, if we can re-engender that trust, at a much higher level, I think we'll see much improved engagement with the merchants. Like for my 2 cents, there is not enough engagement. Every merchant should have a basket of coupon codes that should regularly refresh, in addition to CLOs, custom offers, vanity codes, just full engagement, and most merchants are not there. And I think that is causing the affiliate channel to leave billions of GMV on the table, unfortunately.
Well, thank you all so much. Thanks to all the panelists for getting in just in time here. Thanks for everybody that watched us on LinkedIn. All the great information. Please be a supporter of the PMA. We appreciate all of our members here who come and give us their time, their talents, all of their great information. So those of you who are watching, please help us support the PMA as well, so we can continue to do great things like this in the future. Have a fantastic afternoon, everyone.
Thanks, Tricia.
Bye, everyone.